Okay, so what I've decided to do is to change up my workout routine because I'm going to be turning 60 years old this year, and when I turn 70, I want to feel the same way as I do now, if not better. So here's the problem. I got about 20 pounds right there, and I need to get rid of that. But it's obvious that in the last 10 years, I've not been eating to maintain a healthy weight. I'm 20 pounds overweight, and I want that to be gone. So I've decided to go into a 90-day calorie deficit new training program. This will be the mark of the first time that I haven't been running in 20 years on a weekly basis. I'm swapping out my running for walking because I want to do something lower impact for my body, something that my body will respond to better than the running. So right now I'm out at Lake Muskoka. I'm starting this program next Monday, but I'm also starting to do a lot of the walking and just training my body to get prepared for what's coming next week. So one of the things that when you walk, if you walk enough, I find it takes me about 90 minutes to get to 10,000 steps if I walk at a fairly decent pace. But as you can see behind me, I'm coming down a hill, and I'm going to take you for about a 10-minute walk here. And in that 10-minute walk, we're going to talk about the exercise program that I'm going to be doing. We're going to talk about the calories that I'm going to be burning and the calories that I'm going to be eating. And you'll get a chance to see one of my favorite places, which is Touchstone Resort here up on Lake Muskoka. So what I have to do is be in about a 500 calorie deficit every day. And this isn't forever. This is just until I get to my ideal weight. But I need to also make sure that when I exercise every day to maintain muscle mass, to maintain cardiovascular fitness, that I'm doing the right things. And part of that includes paying attention, really close attention. And I used to do this when I first trained for my first Ironman. I had a schedule, a spreadsheet that I followed, and I had no idea at the time that schedule was actually playing into a couple of principles for self-motivation. And to be self-motivated, you have to have social proof so that other people can see what you're doing. You need to have progress monitoring so that you can see how you're making progress or lack thereof. And you need to have immediate gratification. So in a spreadsheet, a very simple spreadsheet, if you're tracking your workouts every day and you're tracking your calories in and calories out, it becomes pretty much a simple math question along with some thermodynamics. So long as you're in a 500 calorie deficit every day and you're eating quality foods, whole foods, and you do that for 90 days, the math says that I should be able to lose 20 pounds. Now, you can't dictate to your body where that 20 pounds is going to come from. However, if I looked at my body, it's going to come from one of two places. It's either going to come from lean muscle mass, if I'm not protecting that, or it's going to come from my belly, which is where I would like it to come from. So there's a couple of principles at play here. The first is daily exercise. So let's talk about the exercise things first. I'm still going to be working out every day from anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes to get to my 10,000 steps in the morning. I am doing a 90-minute walk that gets me to around 10K in steps, but also 10K in distance. And after that, I'm going to be doing throughout the day a number of body weight activities, meaning I'm doing push-ups, pull-ups, things that you can do at home that you don't need to have fancy gym equipment for. So on days where I'm walking, I'm just basically replacing those days with the days that I would have been running. You can do that every day, but I also like to bike. And I have my outdoor road bikes for triathlon, and I have my indoor training bikes. I also have an elliptical machine. So I can cross train every day to keep my cardiovascular health healthy, not lose that endurance. But at the same time, I have to really focus on building a little bit more muscle. So I'm going to be doing squats, push-ups, pull-ups, and a series of those. If you're interested in what those actually are, what my actual routine is, go ahead and leave me a comment down below, and I'd be happy to share that with you. So you can see I'm coming uphill now, and my voice is starting to get a little bit labored, which is good. I love climbing hills, and I've got this little circuit here at the resort that is about a half a kilometer, but I get to climb up the hill I just climbed and then another hill right here. Back home I've got the Niagara Escarpment because we live right beside it, and I would say distance wise it's probably the same distance that I'm walking right now, but it's a nice steep 11% grade hill, and it's great for getting your heart rate up. Now if you live in a part of the world that doesn't have hills, you can do what I used to do when I first got started walking and running, which was to do intervals. And that is, if you see a telephone pole or an object that's spaced out about the same distance that the telephone pole might be spaced out, tree, just lightly jog or walk as quick as you can from one telephone pole to the next. And when you're done doing that, that's an interval. So do that and then go at a slow pace. So let's say you do 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 30 seconds fast, 30 seconds slow, 90 seconds fast, 90 seconds slow. Whatever those distances are you're marking. For me, I just like doing hills. I like how it makes my legs feel. Actually feels like I've gone for a run, but it doesn't have the same wear and tear and impact on my body. So that's the exercises that I'm going to be doing. I want to get a bit of a running start this week while I was on vacation, because we're with friends, and it can be problematic with the amount of wine and beer we drink while we're on vacation. Now the good news is here, quick little show around here. Beautiful resort in Muskoka, up in the woods, up on top of the lake. Now the good news for me is, and I'm not saying this to boast or brag, but I bought a boat 20 years ago. We were going to buy a cottage up here, and our kids were still playing competitive sports, and we reasoned that we would never have the time to come up and see our cottage if we got a cottage. You see in the background there, I don't know if you can see the boats coming across the lake. So we decided to buy a boat instead, and we didn't buy the cottage. And so this is kind of our favorite place to come, enjoy a week a year, and we all cook. So we each take a turn making meals every day, and we end up eating like kings, drinking like kings. And that's where the devil's in the details, because as much as you want to exercise, if you don't have your nutrition dialed in, you're going to have a problem. For me, that nutrition includes no alcohol for the next 90 days. I know the last time I weighed 190 now, the last time I weighed 170 was in 2011 when I did Ironman Louisville. And for the entire year of training, I didn't touch an ounce of alcohol. And not saying that to be virtuous, what I'm saying is that alcohol kills your training and it kills your weight management. So that's something that I need to do, is I need to have a goal to chase for fitness. And I've decided that I'm not going to race in triathlons, at least long distance triathlons anymore, because of the wear and tear it puts on my body. I want to do non-impactful things, and I want a strategy that's going to get me to 70 now in 10 years, where I feel as good as I do today, if not better. So let's talk about food. There's tons of arguments about whether you should be a vegetarian, whether you should be a vegan, whether you should be a meat eater. So many different diets, so much different advice. I think what you have to have is some common sense. I think you have to look at the food you're eating as, how can I get the most whole, unprocessed foods that I can possibly get? And if you think of it in that respect, you're going to do well, because you're eating foods that are going to continue to break down, and your body's going to burn calories while they're breaking those foods down inside your body while it's digesting. That's thermodynamics. If you're eating highly processed foods, it's going to cause an insulin spike in your liver, and it's going to start storing those calories that are coming in as fat, which is not what you want to do. So while we're up here on vacation, there's a lot of chips, M&Ms, licorice, all the cottage foods, on top of the good foods. So I thought to myself, on day one, I was going to just enjoy myself for the week, do a little bit more exercise, go for a walk every day, get that started. And kind of funny, I can see inside a car here, they've got an Ironman Muskoka finisher's cap. So I know there's some people here this week who did Ironman Muskoka last week. I met them down their boats right beside our boat down the dock. I'll take you down there too. And if you think about food as an athlete would, as how is it going to feed my body for the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, that's when you start getting dialed in on calories. Eat whole, unprocessed foods as best you can. And even in saying that, like having steak steak versus hamburger. The hamburger's been processed. It's easier for your body to digest. It requires fewer calories to digest. Sugar, clearly not a good thing to have in your body and your system. So one of the interesting things that I did was I took this training regime that I had as an Ironman, and then what I said was, okay, I really like this system. I like this spreadsheet. I like the daily accountability, the weekly accountability, the monthly accountability. I went into Claude, which didn't exist clearly, 20 years ago. And I plugged in my Ironman training calendar. And then I plugged in some advice from a couple of people I follow who are doctors and athletes on YouTube, where they give pretty sage advice about nutrition. And I said, I want you to go watch and review that video. I want you to use this format, and I want you to give me a training plan that I can follow. And remember, I talked in the beginning of this video about motivation, self-motivation. Inside of that, it sounds like, squirrel. I thought there was a raccoon in the garbage. Inside of that, now, I went into Claude, and it gave me a complete training plan, spreadsheet with all the bells and whistles. Why am I doing this? What's the science behind it? Like, I asked it to give me everything, and it's actually pretty cool. And if you want to see what that looks like, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll share with you a copy, a PDF of that training plan. So now, let's imagine I've got my food dialed in. I've got my exercise dialed in. Now it becomes, okay, what do I need to do on a daily basis so that I hit my goals for 90 days. And at the end of the 90 days, by the way, you don't have to be in a calorie deficit anymore. The whole idea of 90 days is to train your body how to think, train your body how to behave, how to burn calories, train you how to eat. One of the things that I used to do that I've gotten completely away from, that I'm doing again, is intermittent fasting. Because if you don't have a goal, it's really easy just to be sitting down and watching a hockey game or any sports on TV and just jam food in your mouth because you have anxiety or you're anxious about the game. We're excited to watch the game. So what I'm doing right now over the next 90 days is trying to clean this up. And I'm trying to give myself a plan. I've been measuring food to get a sense of how much I should be eating for every meal. And I've been giving myself the opportunity to succeed. I'll go down here, there's some people on the dock, and we'll have a quick little look around. And I'll finish the video up down here. And you can see the raccoons have been into the garbage last night. Good morning. Oh, lots of people on the docks this morning. Nice. So, again, what I'm doing is I'm doing a 90-day challenge. It's not forever. I'm trying to retrain my body. I'm trying to retrain my mind, how to think. I'm doing intermittent fasting. That simply looks like I will have my last meal of the day at 8 o'clock, and I will not eat again until noon the next day. So I have an 8-hour eating window, and I've got a 12-hour fasting window. Is that right? 12 or 14 hours. You know, you get it. It's 6:30 in the morning. I'm having a tough time with math right now in my head. But yeah, so this is Lake Muskoka. This is where we stay. This is where we have all kinds of fun on our boats. And I've been coming up here for 10 years or so. And I'll give you a quick little sort of slower. I've learned I gotta do this slowly so you can kind of see the lake. Otherwise it gets really blurry in the background. There you go. One of our favorite places in the world, and what a great spot to launch this new quest, this new challenge to retrain my body, retrain my mind, get going. And actually the water looks amazing this morning. It's super flat. It's been really, really windy the last couple of days, so I haven't been able to swim in the morning, but I'll be out here after my walk to do a swim. And yeah, if you have any questions about what I'm doing, how long I'm doing it for, just drop those in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer those questions. I'm going to be doing a weekly update video, and I'm going to be very, very transparent with the results. I'll be transparent with the spreadsheet, and seeing you'll be able to follow my progress along with me as well. And you know, the fun thing for you could be if you decide to do this for yourself and download the PDF, then you too would be able to follow along each week with this video series and see how well you can make with making the same changes that I'm making. So you don't need any fancy equipment. You don't need bikes. You don't need fancy shoes. Just put on your running shoes, go outside, figure out how far 10K is across the day. That's probably what's going to take you to walk to get yourself up to 10,000 steps. Yesterday here at the resort, I got up to 21,000 steps. So I did 10K in the morning, and then I guess I walked another 10K throughout the day. But the beautiful part about being here is that there's lots of stairs to go up and down. So that's kind of cool. And it gets my butt kind of kicked into shape. I gotta tell you, it feels like I've been running, even though all I've been doing is walking, but I've been walking hills. So if any of this sounds like something you might want to join along with, like I said, I'll have a weekly check-in for a 90-day series. And if you want to follow along, just leave a comment in the comments, ask for the PDF, and I will post it, I think, at the top of the comments, or send it to you, one of the two. And we can do this together and see how you make out. I'd love to hear how you make out with doing your training. So yeah, thanks for checking in with me this morning, and looking forward to seeing the comments, and good luck if you're training, safe training. And if you have any questions, I'm not a dietitian, a doctor. I'm just a guy who does this stuff. I track it, I see what results I get, and I know that I've gotten good results in the past. So if I'm honest with myself, I'll get good results in the future too. So thanks everybody. Hope you enjoyed our little view of Muskoka, and we will see you in the series of videos. Bye for now.
What do you think, Ralph? Was that a good one? Or was it super boring? I don't know. I think it was a good video. What do you think? You don't look impressed.